budget. This is that point in time where the manager presents his budget to the council, then any alterations, additions to the budget will be up to the community and the council. So, Mr. Manager?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and members of council. This is the fifth opportunity that I've had to present a budget to you tonight, and I will tell you that the mayor's exactly right. I think I have about 15 minutes of this being mine, and then I turn it over to you, and it's yours and the community for the next month or so. I'm proud of the input from the staff as well as the community building the FY16 proposed budget. So Norfolk, a lot of times you hear me talk about our priorities, and we can rattle them off. We talk about being a well-managed government that's data-driven, that's efficient, that's effective, that's responsive, inclusive, accountable, and customer-focused. And for us, that's what we do in terms of implementing the budget. But we had a great opportunity over the course of the last couple of years with John Martin coming in and having us vision a little bit about what we think the city really is and where we'd like the city to go. And what we found out is we moved away from just talking about being a well-managed government, and we, through a series of community meetings, we realized that we're much, much more. We're diverse, we're historic, we embrace the water, we embrace culture, we're vibrant, we're urban, and I remember Councilman Smeagol, one of our first retreats, you said, we're even fun, don't leave fun out of it. So it led us to having this vision statement that's a part of the budget books going forward. I think the last time we actually had a vision statement, it was in the mid-90s. But Norfolk is an amazing place, a vibrant and historic port city where culturally diverse citizens, the military, and businesses are creating the most dynamic and authentic urban waterfront community in America. So the vision sets the tone, but the priorities, they guide the implementation of the vision. And we started back in September 2013 with a discussion of the visioning process. In May 2014, the council adopted the FY15 budget. True story, we left this room, went downstairs and started working on the FY 2016 budget that night because we said we didn't want any city in America to have an earlier start than us in working on the FY16 budget. In the September retreat, we affirmed some key priorities, and then we reaffirmed those in the January and February timeframe. And that was to keep the financial house in order, to address compensation, to support neighborhood development, to focus on education priorities, and to implement the recommendations of the Poverty Commission. We engaged the community and our employees to gather input. In July, we had 2 listening tours, one in the 3rd Patrol, the other in Huntersville. In February, we had 2 budget exercises, one with the residents, one with our employees. Over the course of time, we had 14 different Mission Possible, not Mission Impossible, but Mission Possible meetings where we had almost 500 people in total attendance. We had surveys, about 150 from employees, and about 170 from our residents. So again, it was a great deal of input on the front end for what I'm presenting to you tonight. In our discussions, there were challenges, but there were also opportunities. And many people left these meetings with feeling very good about their city. So let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges. Nationally, we've come out of the worst recession since the Great Depression. In this national economic backdrop, the Great Recession lasted from December 2007 to June 2009, 18 months, the longest recession since post-World War II. In that time, the nation lost 8.7 million jobs. It took almost 4 years for the nation to recover from those job losses. So if you drill down a little bit to the state, Virginia's gross domestic product is increasing slower than any other state in the Southeast. When you start to look at the entire country, and this is from the latest data from the Bureau of Economic Data, that only Alaska has slower growth than Virginia. And when we look at employment, the jobs, only Alaska and West Virginia have slower job growth than Virginia. So again, national level, state level. Let's take a look at the regional level. Hampton Roads' economic recovery is trailing the state. So if we have these three lines, we talked a bit about the U.S., the red line. You can see that nationally we have recovered all the jobs that were lost. At a state level, we've not yet recovered those job losses, but we're about 1 percentage point away. From a regional level, the blue line, we're still about 3 percentage points away from the peak. So again, from a state level and a regional level, we are still feeling the effects of the Great Recession. And Norfolk has not recovered fully also. For us, 25% of our revenue comes from real estate assessments. So if you take that into consideration, if you adjust for the 2 pennies that the tax rate was raised for school construction, we still have not recovered to the 2010 level in terms of revenue associated with real estate. So 25% of our portfolio is still not at that pre-recession level. If you take a look at the overall growth over the last 30 years, the 10-year average of growth is about 4%. The 20-year average is about 5%. The 30-year average is about 5%. We're happy to be at 1.9%, but again, that's not even, I mean, the 20-year average, the 10-year average, the 30-year average, they all double the growth that we're seeing right now. The average homeowner tax bill in 2016, even with this modest increase, the average homeowner's tax bill is going to be $215 less than what it was in 2010. And that's not actually the case for some of the other cities in Hampton Roads. We are still 25 cents below our peak of $140 per $100 of assessed value, so we're at $115. Other localities are making some adjustments with the real estate tax rate. You know, for instance, if you start to look at Portsmouth, since 2010, taking into account their proposed tax increase, it's about 23 cents since 2010, the recession, all in. So with their rate being at 145, they would be about a penny, within a penny of that rate. Same thing, Hampton. They've raised since 2010 20 cents. Their peak rate was 127 per 100 of assessed value. They're at about 124. Suffolk, they've raised it with the proposal now 16 cents. They're about 1 penny away from their peak. Newport News, 12 cents. The Beach, 10 cents. But for the city, the rate increase has been, since 2010, only 4 cents, but 2 cents of that is related to school construction. And no, I'm not recommending to raise the tax rate, but I just wanted to put in perspective that we depend so heavily on real estate taxes, or the revenue associated with real estate taxes, but they have not rebounded here to that 2010 level. So this is, I guess, the most challenging slide, but we as an administration, we spent a good deal of time reading the Metropolitan Revolution. I believe the mayor actually handed it out at the retreat before last. And one of the things that we have come to understand that there's a great deal of competition between cities. Even in the quote here, metropolitan areas are almost designed to fight amongst themselves because state law makes them largely dependent on locally raised tax revenue. Put this into perspective, we're a Dillon Rule state here in Virginia, so unless the General Assembly explicitly tells us that we can do something, we can't. So it puts us in a very strange situation. Instead of being a region of 1.7 million people, we find ourselves competing almost by design because of what the state has done or not done in terms of local government. But for us, we're trying to build this 2016 budget on what we believe are our competitive advantages. There are some things that are unique to Norfolk that we would like to build on. We consider our competitive advantage to be that we're the urban core of the region. A region of 1.7 million people, but we have the authentic urban experience, the Hub for Arts and Culture, the Center for Commerce, and we have 120 great neighborhoods. And that's on top of higher education, the Navy, the port, healthcare. There are so many good things that are happening in the city in terms of what's our competitive advantage. this authentic urban experience, high-density living. It's kind of interesting. If you look at the city of Norfolk landmass as a part of the entire region, population density, on average, there's about 588 people per square mile. In Norfolk, there's 4,500 people per square mile. So when we start to think about this authentic urban experience, walkability, bikeability, streets, sidewalks are extremely important. And by 2050, 3/4 of the global population will be in urban areas. So for us, we prepare ourselves for the next 4 decades. We're also the center for commerce, high concentration of jobs. 2% of the overall land mass is in Norfolk, but we have 19% of all of the jobs. We have the highest number of jobs per capita. We have the highest average compensation per job. 60% of the jobs that are the workers in downtown Norfolk come from out of the city. One of the things that we have to concentrate on is the jobs for the folks who live here and how we can match them with jobs. But again, Center for Commerce, arts and culture, a world-class destination, whether we're talking about the Addicts Theater or the Virginia Zoo or the Chrysler Museum or Chrysler Hall. There is just so much to see and love about Norfolk in terms of arts and culture. I think we get our biggest bang for our buck when it comes to our neighborhoods there and neighborhood revitalization. We're one community, but there's 120 neighborhoods strong. Whether we're discussing Broad Creek or Ocean View or Freemason or Chelsea or Ward's Corner or Five Points, there's so many opportunities in the city in terms of great neighborhoods. So how do we continue on this momentum? The FY16 budget, I mentioned that we started talking about this last July, but what we heard from the council is really to focus on 5 areas. Make sure that we have our fiscal house in order, our financial house in order, compensation increase for employees, support neighborhoods across the city, follow through on our commitment to lifelong learning, and our continued funding for recommendations of the Poverty Commission. So the good news is that the proposed budget for FY 2016 is structurally balanced. So what do I mean by that? Simply put, ongoing revenue meet ongoing expenditures, and that's for a second year in a row. Interestingly enough, the general fund budget is less, 1% less, the proposed budget for FY16 than it was in FY15, about $8.3 million less. We also have the same level of ongoing support for Norfolk Public Schools, and much of this has been accomplished by re-engineering strategies offered by our departments. It's important to note that we didn't have Norfolk Public Schools have to go through the re-engineering or the saving strategies or public safety or the constitutional officers or the council appointees. We talked about compensation. Last year we built on what we call our ARMED initiative, trying to attract, retain, motivate, and develop employees. This year we're going to go into phase 2, and that would include a step increase for police, fire, rescue, and sheriff sworn employees, a 2% increase for all general employees, and a 3% increase for about 1,000 employees that are in our lowest general employee pay grades. We're going to have salary adjustments for those employees that are in 45 of the most regionally out-of-market classifications, and we're going to continue to match the living wage with what the federal poverty level is. So there will be an uptick in what we do in terms of the living wage. And we will, again this year, have a $300 supplement for eligible retirees, much like we did in the FY15 budget. Also, support for neighborhoods across the city is extremely important. First of all, we're building on what we had for FY15 in terms of the pots of money that we pulled together in order to put back into 10 neighborhoods across the city. And in that, with community discussions, we have pedestrian and bike improvements, streetscapes, and beautification. For the FY16 proposed budget, we are proposing to increase the funds for streets and sidewalk improvements. Specifically, we'll double the funding that's for neighborhood street improvements, and we'll double the funding for neighborhood street and sidewalk repairs. But we're also tripling the funding that we have for neighborhood complete streets in this initiatives. In other words, We want to make sure that we design streets that are operated to provide safe access for all users, including pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and transit users of all ages and abilities. Again, playing to our strengths in terms of having a walkable, bikeable community. We also want to maximize the impact of CDBG funds in the neighborhoods. We have homeowner rehab funds that previously we have provided to the Norfolk Redevelopment and Housing Authority. And what we have found that a good deal of that is related to administration and delivery charges. So in other words, for $2.2 million, about $1.1 million was actually going back into the community. We're just going to give James Rogers some additional workload this year, and we'll pull that grant back into the Department of Neighborhood Development, and we believe that through lower administration costs, we can get $700,000 back into the community. So neighborhoods are not just bricks and mortar. It's also important to understand that there's human capital. 2014 was a very difficult time for the city as we learned a great deal about ourselves in addressing mental health issues. We realize that there are a great number of challenges. So we're again going to utilize CDBG funds as well as general fund dollars to provide almost $250,000 more for our crisis intervention teams. We're on track to train more than about 200 officers by the end of this fiscal year in the crisis intervention training. The training will continue until all of our officers are trained. The Norfolk Police Department has instituted a roving patrol, and the assessment center is available also. We believe that put together, this additional funding will help us address some of the mental health issues that have been a challenge for us over the course of the last year. Again, in addition to bricks and mortar, we continue to talk about human capital, and what we're trying to do is create thriving commercial areas, successful neighborhood businesses, access to quality jobs throughout the city, and we try to do that through leveraging funding resources, innovative development strategies, and supporting our entrepreneurs. So what we have an opportunity for the city with $2 million in programming that is not general fund dollars. We're taking our CDBG funds and we're taking our federal EDA funds, and we are able to use those funds to draw down more funds for specific programs. First, we have a citywide partnership fund. It's a general pool to provide working capital to small and expanding businesses. This will be funded by $250,000 of CDBG funds. The Grow Norfolk Fund, it's for small women and minority-owned businesses, and we're taking $250,000 of CDBG funds, and with a partnership from the National Development Council, they're going to match that $250,000 3-to-1. So we'll have a pool of $1 million to assist our small women and minority-owned businesses as they try to grow and expand. It's kind of interesting. The Global Initiatives Fund, again, $250,000 of federal EDA grants, and we're going to focus on assisting small and mid-sized firms to begin or expand export activities. We are the first locality in the nation to offer such a program. Again, not general fund dollars, but funds that we're pulling down from our federal EDA funds. And then lastly, the Norfolk Innovation Fund, a venture capital fund with $250,000 of CDBG dollars, as well as $250,000 of federal EDA funds. And our goal here is to focus on providing financing in the fields of technology, sustainability, resiliency, healthcare, sciences, and entrepreneurship. So again, $2 million in capital, patient capital, that's available to our businesses that before this time were not available. Lifelong learning. In my message in the budget book, you'll see that since 2007, in terms of just state contributions to public education, the state has reduced its contribution to public education by $17 million. During that same period of time, the city has increased its contribution by about $18 million. But this is not unique to Norfolk. Cities across the Commonwealth are facing the same issue of diminishing funds from the state level. So in terms of lifelong learning as it relates to Norfolk Public Schools, are going to deliver on our commitment to build 6 new schools. The funding for Camp Allen is available in the FY16 proposed budget. We also have money in the out years of the capital improvement plan to address some needs at Maury High School. There's a study, there's a community group that's discussing it now, and what we have found is that there are clearly going to be some costs associated with just some of the infrastructure related to Maury High School. We also provide $15 million in in-kind support to Norfolk Public Schools, but more importantly, in terms of the FY 2016 budget, we are providing that same level of funding for Norfolk Public Schools, not going a step back at all, and it's close to about $116 million. We're committed to work with the school system, the council, the school board, the community, to find ways to address any of the remaining needs of Norfolk Public Schools. Outside of Norfolk Public Schools, in terms of lifelong learning, we're continuing to improve the quality of early childhood education through the Virginia Star Quality Initiative. United for Children is continuing to grow and to have great results. And in our Norfolk Emerging Leader program, we're providing additional funds for the youth programs and internships. Lastly, one of the areas that we knew we had to cover as an administration was implementing the Poverty Commission recommendations. So in 2014, a number of great residents from across the city came together with a plan to address poverty. In 2015, we were able to, the council approved about $500,000 in initial funding, about $215,000 in early childhood development, about $100,000 in youth education pathways, about $35,000 for adult workforce development, and about $150,000 for neighborhood revitalization and support. In 2016, we want to build on that. We have about $250,000 of additional support for the recommendations of the Poverty Commission. To date, out of those 36 action steps, 27 are either completed, in progress, or in the planning stage for implementation. But it's not just the funds from the city. We are getting great responses from our education partners, our private nonprofit partners, and the faith-based community. Also, one of the recommendations of the Poverty Commission as we start to look at FY16 and beyond was to establish a housing trust fund. So there's $1 million set aside in the proposed budget as seed money to establish a housing trust fund. It's a challenge to our community partners because we understand that this is something that's going to be very difficult to go alone as a city. The Poverty Commission had a recommendation of having $4 million in the fund. That's going to be a decision for the council, but our goal is not to spend any of the dollars associated with this until the city council first approves it, but also establishes a target for a total fund. So building on our vision, we're going to continue streamlining operations. We'll keep, in this budget, keeps the real estate tax rate flat. We actually eliminate the $1 water bill administrative fee we realized that we could do without having that $1 fee. But we also thought about, in the economic area, what else can we do? So we want to continue to explore innovative ideas. We've heard for years about the possibility of eliminating the B-poll tax. We're going to eliminate the B-poll tax for all new businesses with the gross receipts of $1 million and under. And we're exploring high-speed internet options for Norfolk. There's $500,000 set aside for high-speed internet options for Norfolk. I'll tell you the last piece before I close out deals with the Career Technical Education Center. A couple of years ago, the council approved $500,000 for planning for the CTE, and I will tell you that we're not sure there's anything as important in terms of school and education as the CTE is. We truly believe that by matching our students with jobs and giving them opportunities for higher education is very important. I'll give you 2 points. One is that why CTE works for high school students. The average high school graduation rate for students concentrating in CTE programs is 90% compared to a national average of 70, a freshman graduation rate of 75%. And why does it work for businesses? Skilled trades are the hardest jobs to fill in the United States, with recent data citing 800,000 jobs open in the trade, transportation, and utilities sector, and almost 300,000 jobs open in manufacturing. We believe by giving our students the credentials as well as a high-quality education that this is a program that can position us for the future. How do we get there? It has to be a partnership. A combination of the city, a combination of the private sector, philanthropic community, as well as having a conversation with our friends at the state in terms of how can this be not just an educational piece for the city, but also a piece of workforce development. So in my remaining minute, before it's no longer mine, and I turn it over to the council, it's a $1.2 billion plan. It's 1% lower than the plan that was approved last year. We believe it ensures financial stability. It provides compensation increase for our employees. It supports our neighborhoods and our businesses. It follows through on our commitment to lifelong learning. We continue to address some of the issues around poverty, and I believe it plays to our strengths. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to you my fifth budget. There are a lot of people with bags under their eyes because they've been up for the last few days trying to pull this together. So Mayor and Council, if you don't mind me thanking all of the city staff in the budget office and the community that played a role in this, if you would stand.
Great.
That's it.
All right, Mr. Manager, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. We've only gotten your budget, I guess, last evening, so what chance I've had to review it so far is it looks like it's really a great effort on behalf of your team and you. We have a lot to talk about, but we're off to a good start.
Well, thanks.
So thank you very much. Okay. All right, we're going to take a short break to allow some of the